Hello class, welcome to the farm, or more like my backyard. So thank you for tuning in to this podcast. Today we're going to be talking about perimeter and area. So if you guys would take a look at the slideshow, I'll kind of bring you through that. Here's a cool picture of a farm, lesson in mathematics. So today we're going to be talking about perimeter and area. So first of all, we're going to review the things that we talked about and their definitions, first of all. So perimeter is the distance around a two-dimensional shape. So if you got a square, it's all four of those sides added up. If you got a triangle, it's the three sides added up, so on and so forth. An area is the amount of space inside the boundary of a two-dimensional shape. So say you've got a square, it's how many cubic inches, centimeters, whatever may be inside that shape. So looking at perimeter, we're going to start by looking at a couple figures and just reviewing what we've learned about adding up perimeter and kind of finding that distance. So look at perimeter. We've got this first shape. It's got a side that's 8 centimeters, a side that's 5 centimeters, another side that's 8 centimeters, and another side that's 5 centimeters. So this is a rectangle. So I'm going to give you a second here. You can pause the video, whatever you need to do. Go ahead and find the perimeter of this shape. So you should have gotten 26 centimeters. It's just by adding up 8 centimeters, 8 centimeters, 5 centimeters, and 5 centimeters. So let's take a look at the next shape. We've got sides given to us of 4 centimeters, 8 centimeters, 7 centimeters, and 3 centimeters. So in order to find the perimeter, you're going to have to first find both sides that are missing and then add them all up. So I'll give you a chance to do that. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to. Okay, so you should have gotten 30 centimeters. The way you're going to find this is by finding the sides, the length of the sides, opposite of 8 and opposite of 7. The length opposite of 8 is going to be 5 centimeters. 8 minus 3 is 5. And the length across from the 7 centimeters is going to be 3 centimeters. 7 minus 4. So that's a little review of perimeter. Let's go ahead and move on to area. As you can remember from our lessons on area, different shapes have different formulas for area. So a triangle is its base times its height divided by 2. A rectangle is its base times its height. A circle is pi times its radius squared. A trapezoid, which we won't work with in this program, is going to be its height times, in parentheses, its base 1 plus its base 2 over 2. And the parallelogram, which we also won't work with, is just its base times its height. It just looks a little bit different, as you can see in the figures that I've provided for you. So keep that in mind. You're welcome to come back to this slide if you need to, just to check on your formulas for area, but we should be able to outline those as we move forward in the PowerPoint. So first of all, we're going to start by, once again, a little bit of review, but a little bit more content. We're going to try to find perimeter with missing lengths, which we actually already did in the earlier figure. So we're going to take a look at this first figure. Given to us are the sides 3 centimeters, 1 centimeter, 9 centimeters, 5 centimeters, and 3 centimeters. As you can see, the side opposite from the 3 centimeters is just going to be 3 centimeters as well. But I want you to find that very top length of this figure. So I'll give you a second to do that. And, you can pause the video, whatever you need to do. Okay, so you should have gotten 9 centimeters. You do this by adding your 3 centimeters plus 1 centimeter plus 5 centimeters. So that'll give you a top length of 9 centimeters. Now I want you to go ahead and find the perimeter of this object. Okay, once you've done that, you should have gotten 42 centimeters. Go ahead and check your addition. You should just add up all the sides. Pretty self-explanatory. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next object. This object's got a couple different places to find length. So you've been given 8 centimeters, 5 centimeters, 10 centimeters, and 2 centimeters. So you need to find the 2 missing lengths down there in the bottom right corner. So I'll give you a second to do that. Okay, so you should have gotten 6 centimeters and 5 centimeters. You find the 6 centimeters by this, subtracting 2 centimeters from 8 centimeters. And then you get the 5 centimeters by subtracting 5 centimeters from 10 centimeters. So I'll give you a second to find the total perimeter of this object. Once again, you're welcome to pause the video when I wait for you just to find those things. So in total you should have gotten 36 centimeters as the perimeter. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to finding the area of non-conventional shapes. So this isn't just going to be rectangles or triangles. It's going to be a mixture of different shapes. So we're going to go ahead and find these areas. So why don't we go ahead and move back to that first object. You remember that we found the 9 centimeter length on the top. So we're going to go ahead and move on to this object, and what we're going to do is we're going to split this object into 2 different rectangles by placing a line right here, as you can see, the yellow line, and dividing that top rectangle from that bottom rectangle. So first of all, to find the area of this, you're going to do its length times its height, or its base times its height. I'll give you a second to do that. Okay, so you should have gotten 27 centimeters, 9 times 3. And then we're going to go ahead and find the area of the bottom rectangle. Once again, doing base times height, you should have gotten 9 times 1 is 9 centimeters. And so to find the area of the total figure, you're just going to add up the areas of both of these rectangles. So 27 centimeters plus 9 centimeters is 36 centimeters. So that's what you should have gotten for the total area of this shape. So let's go ahead and move on to that second shape that we looked at with the 6 centimeter and 5 centimeter missing lengths. So for this object, you've got kind of a rectangle on the top and a rectangle on the bottom, just as you did in the last figure. So once again, we're going to write this line, this yellow line, to split these boxes up. So you're going to have a box on the top and a box on the bottom. The box on the top is going to have an 8 centimeter base and a 5 centimeter height. So what's the area of that? Good, you should have gotten 40 centimeters. Now we're going to go ahead and check the one on the bottom. You've got a height of 5 centimeters and a base of 2 centimeters. So the area is 10 centimeters. Okay, very good. So to find the total area of this figure, you're just going to add up the areas of both of those rectangles, and go ahead and pause the video if you need to, but you should get 50 centimeters. So we're going to go ahead and move on to this next figure. It's got a bunch of different rectangles or squares inside of it, so it's going to be a little bit different to find all the area and perimeter of this object. So first of all, we're going to have to figure out what these variables are. So first of all, we're going to look at the y variable. What you can see is this side has length of 6, and then you've got a length of 3 on the other side and a length of 1 on the other side. So in order to find that y variable, you're going to have to subtract those different lengths from 6. So 6 minus 3 minus 1 is going to give you 2 centimeters. So your y is going to be 2 centimeters. Next, we're going to need to find that x variable. So because we don't know exactly how long that the x variable is, what we need to do is we need to create this box with these yellow lines and figure out how long those are. And so we create this very bottom rectangle, and as you can see, you're going to have 6 centimeter bottom and a 4 centimeter top. But if we finish this yellow line, then the 4 plus that yellow line is going to have to be your 6. So 4 plus 2 equals 6. So we know that that yellow line right there is 2 centimeters long. So we go ahead and look at that top line that's 10 centimeters long. And you've got 10 minus that 2, which is going to give you 8 centimeters. So that's how we're going to find our x. Our x is going to be 8 centimeters. So now we've been given the x and the y values. So we're going to find the different areas of those different boxes. So that top rectangle is going to be 10 times 3, which is going to give you 30 centimeters for its area. That little box down there, you've got a 2 by 2 box. So 2 times 2 is 4. And then in the bottom, you've got 6 times 1. You've got the base of 6 and the height of 1. So that's going to give you 6 centimeters. So finding the total area is just a matter of adding up the areas of those different boxes. And so that's going to be 30 centimeters plus 4 centimeters plus 6 centimeters. And that gives you 40 centimeters. Now I realize I didn't write centimeters on the numbers that were already given to us. I've just been talking in centimeters, so I might as well keep it in centimeters. So going ahead and moving on, we also need to find the perimeter of this box. And so to do that, you're just going to add up all the sides. So go ahead and do that, and I'll give you a second. Pause the video if you need to. Okay, so after pausing the video and adding up the sides, you should get 3 plus 10 plus 6 plus 6 plus 1 plus 4 plus 2 plus 8, and that's going to give you 40 centimeters. So in this case, the area of the total figure actually equals the perimeter of the total figure as well. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to a different object. This object is going to be only variables. So in order to find the area and the perimeter of these objects, you're going to have to actually put together equations to find the area. Now this is moving into the new content and what we're going to be actually applying to our lesson when we return to class. So first of all, you're going to be given these variables. You've got x plus 5 and x plus 5 on the top and bottom, and then x and x on the sides. So I'm going to actually give you the perimeter, and you've got to create equations to find that. So the perimeter is going to be 30. Now I'm going to give you a second. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to find an equation to equal 30 so that you can actually find what x is. Okay, so you should have gotten something similar to this. You've got 30, which is your perimeter, equals x plus 5 plus x plus x plus 5. That's just adding up all the sides. And then when you put those variables together, adding like terms, you're going to get 4x plus 10. So and now you need to find what your x is. I'll give you a second to do that. Okay, so if you've got 30 equals 4x plus 10, you have 30 minus 10 is going to give you 20 equals 4x. 20 divided by 4 is going to be 5, so your x is going to be 5 in this case. So now that you know what your x is, I need you to find what the area is. So go ahead and create an equation to find your area if x equals 5. Okay, so if x equals 5, all you're going to do is plug your 5 in. You've got 10 on top, 10 on bottom, 5 on each side. So that's 10 times 5, your base and your height, regular standard rectangle area. And that's going to give you 50. So now I want you to actually put the variables together to create an equation for this area. So I'll give you a second to do that. Okay, so to find this equation, you should have done base times height, which is your x, times your x plus 5. So x times x plus 5 equals 50. Now moving on, go ahead and multiply like terms and distribute your x out through the parentheses, and you're going to get x squared plus 5x equals 50. So as you can see, when you plug 5 in, you get 25 plus 25 equals 50. So the way that you put those variables together to create that equation, x times x plus 5, is going to give you the correct area for your figure. So, why are we learning these things? And it seems pretty simple, right? And how are we going to apply this to the farm? All questions you may have. So, what if I give you a figure like this? This is more like a farm. I know it's a bedroom, but farm. So, imagine finding the area and the perimeter of all these things with all these different shapes. These are the kind of things that we're going to be doing in class. So, where do we go from here? Why don't we give you one more practice with a few more shapes. So in this case, you've now got a couple different shapes. You need to find the area and the perimeter of this entire object. I'm just going to expect you to find the area of this. You can go ahead and find the perimeter if you want to in your free time, but if you like to do math in your free time. But we're going to go ahead and just find the area. So first of all, you're going to be given these two rectangles, one on the side and one on the bottom. You're going to be a triangle in the middle, and then a half circle up there on the top, a semicircle on the top. So, to find the area of the rectangles, all you have to do is base times height. I'm going to go ahead and give you a second to find the area of both of those rectangles, and we'll move forward. Okay, so you should have gotten an area of 192. That's just 12 times 16 for both of these rectangles. So now moving on to the triangle, this is where it gets a little more tricky. Finding the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height, or base times height over 2. I'm going to go ahead and give you a second to do that. You've got your base and your height. Okay, so your base should be 16 and your height should be 12. So moving forward, you have an area equals 1/2 that base times height, so you're going to get 96 for the area of that triangle. So now we need to find the length of the hypotenuse of that triangle. So you know from review the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. You're going to use that to find the hypotenuse of this line. So I'm going to give you a second to do that. Okay, so you should have gotten 12 squared plus 16 squared equals 400. And your square root of 400 is going to give you a c that equals 20. So your hypotenuse right there is 20 units. So moving forward, all that's left to find is the area of the semicircle. So what is the area of a circle? Because it's obvious we don't have an equation for the area of a semicircle. So area of a circle is pi r squared. Pi times the radius squared. So we know what the radius is. Now what is the radius? Okay, it should be c divided by 2. So that's your 10 because it's only half of the diameter of that circle right there. So your area is going to equal pi times 10 squared. And right now we're just going to let pi be 3.14. We're not going to bring it into the irrational number that it is. We'll just let it be 3.14. So pi times 10 squared should give you 314 units as your area for that semicircle. But because this is only half of the circle, we need to divide it into 2. So I'll let you do that. Okay, 314 divided by 2 should give you an area of 157. So in order to find the area of the entire object, just add up those areas. I'll give you a second to do that. Okay, so it should be 192 plus 192 plus 96 plus 157, and that should give you a total area of 637 units. So thank you for tuning into this podcast. I will see you soon in class. Be ready to take what you've learned through this and apply it in various different methods, and get ready because we're going to the phone.